Many years ago, in the small village called Ihiala, near the lush forest of West Africa, lived a man named Chidi. He was well loved in the village for his jovial nature, his dedication to his family, and a seemingly endless supply of humorous stories. Chidi was married to Ese, a kind and resourceful woman who balanced his carefree spirit with her practical wisdom. Together, they had 3 children, Oma, Coco, and little Ama. Chidi had a peculiar condition that added a unique twist to his otherwise ordinary life. He was a sleepwalker. While sleepwalking itself is not uncommon, Chidi's nightly adventures were anything but usual. His sleepwalking escapades became legendary in Yala, providing endless amusement to the villagers and inspiration of his beloved wife, Essie. One night, Chidi's family and the villagers were startled by a strange commotion coming from the marketplace. Pots clanched, baskets toppled, and voices murmured in confusion. When Essie and a group of curious villagers arrived at the scene, they found Chidi dressed in his night clothes, energetically bargaining with an imaginary vendor over the price of bananas. 2 for 1. No, my friend, that is too much. How about 4 for 1? Chidi angled with the empty hair, his hands animatedly gesturing as if holding on invisible fruit. Ese sighed and gently guided him back home, while the villagers chuckled and shook their heads. The next morning, Chidi awoke with no memory of his midnight market visits, but was amused by the retelling of his adventures. Another memory episode took place near the village river. Chidi, in the dead of night, wandered out of his house and made his way to the water edge. There he stood in his night clothes, casting an imaginary fish line into the river and conversing with an invisible fishing companion. "I tell you, this spot is the best for catching the biggest fish," he said, reeling in his imaginary catch with great enthusiasm. The next morning, the villagers found him asleep on the riverbank, clutching a stick as if it were a prized catch. Ese, who had been frantically searching for him, shook her head with a mix of relief and exhilaration. She led him home once more, and Chidi awoke with a confused smile as he heard the villagers' laughter. The village of Ihiala was known for its vibrant festivals, where music, dance, and feasting brought everyone together. During one such festival, Chidi's sleepwalking struck again. In the middle of the night, he wandered into the village square, where the festival decorations were still in place. Chidi joined an imaginary dance circle, moving to the beat of drums that only him could hear. He twirled and spun, clapped and stomped, his movements growing from enthusiastic with each imaginary beat. The villagers, awakened by the noise, gathered around, laughing and cheering him on. Essie arrived, shaking her head but unable to suppress a smile. She waited until Chidi finished his energetic dance before gently waking him. He looked around in bewilderment, realizing he was the center of attention. One night, Essie awoke to find Chidi missing from their bed. She searched the house and yard but found no sign of him. Just as she was about to panic, she heard a commotion coming from the kitchen coop. Rushing over, she discovered Chidi inside the coop, clucking like a chicken and trying to nestle among the hens. The chickens, equally confused, flapped their wings and squawked, adding to the chaos. "Chidi, what are you doing?" Essie exclaimed, half laughing and half upset. Chidi blinked and looked around, dazed and disoriented. Essie led him back to the house, and the next morning, the villagers couldn't stop laughing at the image of Chidi trying to roost with the chickens. One particularly memorable night, Chidi sleepwalking led him to the village farm. The villagers were awoken by the sound of tools clicking and the sight of a lone figure in the fields. When they approached, they found Chidi in his night clothes, diligently hoeing and planting seed in the moonlight. "These crops will grow strong and tall," Chidi declared to no one in particular, as he carefully placed seed into the furrows he had made. The villagers watched in amusement and decided to let him continue his midnight farming. The next morning, Chidi awoke with sore muscles and dirt under his nails, puzzled by the villagers' laughter and the state of his hands. Another night, Chidi wandered into a neighboring village where a wedding celebration was in a full swing. In his sleepwalking state, he believed he was the groom. He confidently walked up to the bride and began an impromptu speech about their future together. "My dear bride," Chidi said with a heartfelt tone, "we shall build a happy home filled with love and laughter." The real groom and the wedding guests were initially shocked, but soon burst into laughter when they realized Chidi was sleepwalking. Ese, alerted by the commotion, arrived just in time to apologize and gently guide Chidi back home. The next day, the neighboring villagers shared the hilarious stories with Ihiala, adding another adventure to Chidi's legend. One night, Chidi's sleepwalking took him to the village communal kitchen. The villagers were awakened by the delicious aroma of cooking. When they arrived, they found Chidi dressed in his nice clothes, expertly preparing a feast from the available ingredients. "Tonight, we shall have a banquet fit for kings," Chidi announced, stirring pots and flipping flatbread with surprising skill. The villagers decided to let him continue his culinary adventure, and by morning, a hearty breakfast awaited them. Chidi awoke to applause and cheers, bewildered by the array of dishes and the praises of his neighbors. One evening, Chidi wandered into a village square where children were gathered for a bedtime. In his sleepwalking state, he believed he was the designated storyteller. Taking his place on the storytelling mat, he began weaving an elaborate tale about a brave warrior and his loyal animal companions. And then the warrior faced the mighty dragon, armed only with his wit and courage. Chidi's voice boomed. The children listened in awe as Chidi's tale grew more fantastical with each passing minute. Ese arrived to find the children wide-eyed with wonder, and Chidi fully engrossed in his stories. She gently woke him, and the children begged him to continue the tale the next day. Chidi, unaware of his nighttime storytelling, was happy to oblige. One night, Chidi's sleepwalking took him to the village tailor shop. He entered into the workshop and began measuring and cutting fabrics as if he were creating a masterpiece. The tailor, awakened by the noise, found Chidi deeply focused on his work. "This garment will be the finest Ihiala has ever seen," Chidi proclaimed, his hands moving with surprising dexterity. The tailor decided to let Chidi continue his work, curious to see the outcome. By morning, Chidi had created a rather unique and colorful outfit. The tailor, amused and impressed, presented the outfit to Chidi, who was puzzled by the villagers' laughter and the tailor's gratitude. One of the funniest and most baffling episodes occurred when the villagers noticed that several of their clay pots were mysteriously breaking at night. At first, they suspected a mischievous spirit or a playful animal, but then they discovered the true culprit. One night, Chidi, in his sleepwalking state, wandered into the pottery workshop. He carefully picked up each pot, examined it as if it were a delicate treasure, and then, with a puzzled look, would place it back down in a way that inevitably caused it to tip over and shatter. Ese and the potter, Badu, caught him in the act one night and could hardly contain their laughter. "Chidi, you are our very own pottery inspector," Badu teased the next day. Despite the hilarity, Chidi's sleepwalking sometimes worried Ese. She feared he might hurt himself during one of his nocturnal adventures. Seeking a solution, she visited a village wise man, Nanaya, who was known for a deep understanding of both the spiritual and physical worlds. "Nanaya, my husband Chidi is a sleepwalker. His adventures are funny, but I worry for his safety, Ese explained. Nanaya nodded thoughtfully. The spirit world often tries to communicate with us in mysterious ways. It seems Chidi has a restless spirit guiding him. We must find a way to calm his spirit. Nanaya prepared a special mixture of herbs and instructed Ese to sprinkle it around their home and place some under Chidi's pillow. She also advised Ese to perform a small ritual, offering thanks to the ancestors and asking for their protection over Chidi. That night, Ese followed Nanaya's instructions, and Chidi's sleepwalking episode grew less frequent and less elaborate. However, they never entirely ceased, and the villagers continued to enjoy the occasional sleepwalking adventure of their beloved Chidi. One night, Chidi sleepwalking took him to the village chief's house. In his dream state, he believed he was a royal advisor and began to give an elaborate speech to an audience of sleeping chickens and goats in the chief's courtyard. "My dear subjects," Chidi proclaimed, "we must ensure that our village prospers. More yam for everyone and a grand feast every week." The chief, awakened by the noise, came outside to find Chidi passionately addressing the livestock. The chief's hearty laughter woke the rest of the household, and they all enjoyed the spectacle. When Ese arrived to collect her sleepwalking husband, she apologized profusely, but the chief waved it off with a smile. "Chidi's speeches are the highlights of my night," he chuckled. Chidi's sleepwalking became a beloved part of village life of Ihiala. His nocturnal adventures, while sometimes worrisome, brought endless amusement and joy to everyone. The villagers learned to look out for him at night, gently guiding him back home when necessary and sharing stories of his latest escapades by day. Through it all, Ese remained steadfast by his side, her love and patience unwavering. She saw beyond the humorous incidents to the kind and gentle man he had married, and Chidi, ever the good-natured soul, embraced his condition with laughter, grateful for the support of his wife and the understanding of his community. The tale of Chidi the sleepwalker became a cherished story in Ihiala, a reminder that even in the most unexpected circumstances, love, humor, and community can turn challenges into cherished memories. Sleepwalking is real. It involves getting up and walking around while in a state of sleep. If anyone in your household sleepwalks, it's important to protect him or her from potential injuries related to sleepwalking. Thank you so much for enjoying this hilarious series of Chidi's sleepwalking. Please do subscribe, like, and drop a comment. See you in another video with another story. Bye for now.